Kazakhstan International Vectors program informs you about international relations, political opinions, economic solutions and social development. My success is due to my refusal to listen to almost no one's advice but my own. Byron Jibek, French inventor and entrepreneur. Threatening statistics. The number of unemployed people worldwide may reach 200 million. Artificial intelligence is to deprive people of 5 million workplaces. Startup projects. Kazakhstan stakes on young businessmen. The planet of the unemployed. The constant growth of jobless people around the world reaches global dimensions. The main reason for that is the increasing economic instability, which still does not diminish. In its turn, it threatens with the replenishment of the army of the unemployed by another 2 million people. According to the International Labour Organization, by the end of 2015, the number of people without a stable job reached 197 million. In 2016, it is expected to reach 200 million. By 2019, the army of the unemployed may increase by another 12 million. 1.5 billion people may lose their work. South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa account for 3/4 of the so-called fragile jobs all over the world. It means that their stability highly depends on the economic situation in a certain country. The category of people with a weak professional background consists of those who do not work in their specialty. They graduated from the university but could not find a job in their degree field. As a result, they have to seek for a job in other spheres and undergo training during another 3 years. Within these 3 years, they will have a fragile job. The engine of all resource-based economies around the world is slowing down. Oil producers have faced a fall of oil prices. Asian, African, Arabic and American workers faced a risk of losing their jobs. Thus, for example, only this February the mining industry of Canada cut 9,000 jobs. Currently, the options of economic diversification are being examined in the country. Any crisis supposes unemployment, decrease in oil output, transportation and processing volumes. All that gives rise to concealed unemployment. People are placed on an unpaid leave and then dismissed. Here we are talking about significant amount of people. Lots of people want to study. It is proved by the statistics. Over the last 40 years, the number of students has increased 6 times. However, this successful trend can give place to negative effects. This is especially the case of European countries. And the reason for that are educational reforms. Developed countries attract low-cost force. These are general laborers who can do some menial jobs. As for intellectuals, employers train them themselves. In some cases, they train ordinary specialists. In other cases, they prepare narrowly focused specialists and develop their own payment schemes. The phenomenon of unemployment among degree professionals is another obstacle on the way to bright future of yesterday's postgraduates. This problem arises in countries with ill-identified labor market demands. Discrepancies in the labor market also lead to the increase of unemployed specialists. Just imagine the situation when parents paid for education of their child, but after graduation he or she cannot find a job. A narrow specialization can be a problem due to the high competition. There are a lot of specific professionals, but not all of them succeed in finding a proper job. For example, oil specialists should be able to work in mining, transport and processing industries, as well as in management and transnational corporations. Man-made danger. Technological development not only improves human lives, but poses a certain threat. Specialists of the World Economic Forum think that robotization will lead to the creation of 2 million vacancies. At the same time, 7 million people are to lose their jobs. The age of robots has not come yet. Nowadays, we regard them as something new and they're still not widely used, apart from risky military operations where human lives are highly valued.
В военных действиях, да.
The inventor of modern banalities. In the middle of the 20th century, French innovator and entrepreneur Marcel Jibek was trying to find a way to saturate the market with commodities which people use every day and repair them instead of throwing away due to their high prices. Marcel set a task to create similar commodities at a low price and for single use only. He began from ballpoint pens. The success of single use, a reasonable price and perfect quality have made these types of goods saleable and highly competitive. For comparison, initially pens costed more than 20 cents. Several years later, their price dropped by more than 50% and output increased up to 1 billion items annually. Soon Marcel's company joined foreign markets. In the production of lighters and disposable razors, Jibek kept to the same policy. Cheap single-use commodities brought high income to the businessman and made him a billionaire. Where do the most hardworking people live and how young entrepreneurs are brought up in Kazakhstan? Staffing crisis. Massive protests of the European youth against fee-based education continue and draw more and more attention. In view of economic instability, affordable education has become a necessity. Indeed, the number of unemployed young people continues to grow. At the same time, countries of the region lack skilled staff. Heads of EU states and governments discuss methods of fight against youth unemployment. They have perfect mentoring institutes. While mastering some skills, young people work for free under supervision of their mentor, who passes them his experience. It is a true fact that young people used to complain that they cannot find a job due to the lack of experience. Y generation. Studies show that young people want to work and not only for money, but for doing good together with their foreign partners. What is meant here is the work at international enterprises. About 50% of young people around the world dream of working in international companies. Most of them live in India, 73%, in Brazil, 69%, in China, 63%, and in Russia, 40%. Corruption and unemployment provoke terrorism. This is another proof that job creation is the primary task for any state. Let's remember the year 1905. The dismissal of 4 workers at the Putila factory in Russia resulted in strike which then grew into revolution. People headed by Father Gapon arrived at the square. 129 people were killed. People continue working despite the crisis. Some of them are more enthusiastic. It can be seen from the list of weekly hours in different countries around the world. China heads the list. This is the country where the most hardworking people live, and they spend at their jobs up to 60 hours per week. People in Japan work 10 hours less. They are followed by residents of Mexico with 48 hours and Argentina with 44 hours. Population is a driving force of economic activity. This is one of the main functions of the State Program for Infrastructure Development Joly. Its principal tool is skilled workers who will participate in large-scale construction works in the area of housing as well as transport and social infrastructures. Within the nearest 3 years, about 400,000 new workplaces are to be created under the Joly state program. For this purpose, $22.5 billion will be allotted by the country. A good workplace is never empty. Earlier this year, a new scheme of payment for state workers has been implemented in Kazakhstan. Pay increase now directly depends on skill level of teachers, doctors, as well as cultural and social workers. More than 270 billion tenge was allotted from the state budget for this purpose. Education is a key to success. This approach is regarded as one of the most effective ways of decreasing unemployment. Because of that, this method is actively used in Kazakhstan. For this purpose, special state programs focused on the support of young businessmen are being implemented throughout the country. Business Roadmap 2020 program is associated with a promising future. An entrepreneur needs to have only 15% of the initial capital in order to receive the remaining 85% from Damu Fund. This opportunity allows to improve the conditions for businessmen. Thus, since the start of the year, 170 startup projects have received this support. We made an assessment of Damu Fund's programs and recognized them as effective. We should implement more such programs because they raise people's competence. Job fair is one of the methods of resolving unemployment issues. Thus, for example, in South Kazakhstan region, such events gather more than 40 enterprises which offer vacant positions. During the last exhibition, more than 500 specialists found jobs. New Horizons. The France-Kazakhstan Fair gives postgraduates of French universities a chance to have an interview regarding training and employment in various companies. Along with that, the countries plan to continue cooperation in the area of education. Thus, the engineering university is to be established in accordance to the second project. The first one provides for the establishment of Sorbonne Kazakhstan Institute. The government should take an active part in the creation of training programs. For example, we have been developing our oil sector for almost 20 years. During this period of time, we had to satisfy the demand for oil industry workers by training our specialists instead of inviting foreign ones. Business is another way to eradicate unemployment. Young entrepreneur Almas Mukametov has chosen this option. At the age of 19, he opened his own design studio. Now, in his 23, he manages 4 business projects in different fields. The first project is a design studio. We help beginning entrepreneurs to develop their own brands, logo types and brand books. Later we started to work in the area of entertainments for children. I always wanted to find a niche where I could realize my potential. So I started to invent game simulators. Bouncy castles in the local park are also one of our projects. Today, Almas is carrying out an inspection of the ice cream kiosk. The young businessman says that this project is unique for Kazakhstan. Ice cream is prepared at a temperature of 45 degrees below zero right in front of buyers' eyes. This process fascinates and surprises people. The most important thing is that we do not use preserving agents and sell only natural products. Currently, Almas's company employs 15 people. In the future, he wants to increase the staff up to 300 people and occupy new niches. People have various ideas and we believe in them. But when they don't have money, they don't know what to do. So the task of entrepreneurs is to see opportunities instead of obstacles. I realized that I didn't have much savings, big opportunity or a rich uncle. However, I saw that I was surrounded by talented people who knew their trade. Almas adds that attendance of the School for Young Entrepreneurs and participation in Enactors International projects helped him very much. Almas also won the title of the Best Entrepreneur 2014 at the competition among young businessmen organized by Damu Fund.